Hi all. Good morning, good evening. Welcome to day one of the exclusive training provided by Isha Training Solutions, Generative AI in software testing, where we are going to cover the role of generative AI in functional testing, automation testing, and performance testing. So yesterday we went through the different topics, right, which we are going to cover as part of this training. And then we went through different queries from different people, and then we have started with the different topics as well. So we'll continue from there yesterday, guys. So who can tell me, or I'll request you all to put in the chat, what are the three different types of AI? Please respond in the chat. What are the three different types of AI? So no response yet. Okay, we have some responses now.
Um, Hi, sorry to disturb you, but I am not able to message inside the chat. It is saying I am not a member, so I cannot message.
Okay, no worries. So the three different types of AI are basically artificial narrow intelligence, right? Then artificial general intelligence, and then artificial super intelligence. So I think um, Brahmanand responded correctly, the first one to respond correctly. Okay, so let me start sharing my screen, guys. We'll continue from there, and we are going to see the key concept and terms today. Okay, so let me start sharing my screen, everyone. So someone has raised his hand. The name shows as DG. So do you have any query?
No, sorry, I forgot to take it down. I could not
Yeah.
message, and that's
Okay.
what I wanted to tell you. Yeah.
Sure, no problem. Yeah, thank you. You could lower your hand. So I hope my screen should be visible to all of you. So coming to the different concepts or different terms which we have in artificial intelligence. Okay. So all of you, we have understood what is AI, right? Then we'll see the different terms basically which are there with AI. So first of all, coming to the first one, that is artificial intelligence. Okay, artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is the superset, everyone. Artificial intelligence is the superset, and it is basically, we can say that it is a field of computer science. Okay, it is an umbrella or a superset for the machines, okay, who can simulate human intelligence. Why we say artificial intelligence? Because it can simulate our human intelligence. The focus of AI is to create intelligent systems, okay, which can basically perform the different tasks, and those tasks require human intelligence. So instead of utilizing human intelligence, or instead of utilizing any human or a user, the artificial intelligence will be able to complete that task. Clear? So for example, speech recognition is an example. Okay, text generation, decision making, right? We provide different input parameters, and based on that, artificial intelligence can take very informed decisions. Clear, all of you? So this is artificial intelligence, and we can say that, artificial intelligence is the superset or the complete umbrella, guys. This is AI. All of you clear? Next, The next term is machine learning. So it is a branch of AI. As I told you, AI is the complete umbrella. So machine learning is definitely a branch of AI, which basically focus on, to develop the algorithms, to develop the models based on statistics, which will help the computer systems to learn from the experience. Okay, we do not need to provide explicit programming instructions. We do not need to write specific code. Okay, using machine learning, we can develop the algorithms which can basically learn from experience. So using machine language, so normally we call it as ML, right? So using machine language, we can analyze data. We can, while analyzing the data, we can detect different patterns. Okay, within that data, we can detect different patterns, and based on that analysis, based on that pattern detection, we can make predictions, or machine learning can make predictions or decisions. So machine learning is basically a branch of AI. Okay, here I can say that this is ML. All of you clear? The next term, okay, in the field of AI is deep learning. Okay, deep learning. Now, what is this deep learning? Deep learning is a subset of machine learning, guys. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. Okay, it will use multiple layers of neural networks, and then it will be able to detect different objects. It will be able to recognize the speech. It will be able to do language translation as well. They can process different data. They can process different, they can analyze different data. So you provide the images, you provide the sounds, you provide the texts. Like the human brain can detect images, the human brain can detect sound, can understand sound, the human brain can understand text. So using deep learning also, you can make it act like a human brain, and it is a subset of machine learning basically. So it can process and analyze this kind of data, guys. Okay, so as I told you, deep learning is a subset of machine language. All of you clear? Next, the next term is natural language processing, guys. Natural language processing. Now, it is a subset of AI. Like machine learning is a subset of AI. Natural language processing is also a subset of AI. Okay, it is a subset of AI. And machine learning is also a subset of AI. So natural language processing, it focuses on the interaction between human beings and computer systems. Okay, it is basically dealing with the interaction between the human beings and the computer systems through natural language. It can decode our human language. Okay, it can decode our human language. It can understand, it can interpret, it can generate, and it can also manipulate the natural language texts, guys. And whatever speech, whatever text is there, it can basically detect and manipulate those text and speeches. So NLP or natural language processing, it will take our human language as an input, and then it will process that input, and then it will convert it into the, number language, because computer systems understand numbers, right? So it will take the input of our human language, and it will process it, and it will convert them into numbers, which the computer will understand. And then similarly, once the computer processes that, it provides the output. That output will be in the form of numbers again. Clear, all of you? So then NLP will again convert that numbers into human language. I'll request everyone to go on mute, please. So it will convert those numbers into human language, and then human beings will be able to understand and interpret it. Clear, everyone? So NLP is basically a subset of AI, and it also uses some of the algorithms of machine learning as well. So there will be a common set here. This is our NLP, okay? Natural language processing. All of you clear? Next, now comes, the most important term which we are going to focus on, that is generative AI. Okay, that is generative AI. Now, what this generative AI is? It is again a branch of AI. It utilizes machine learning. It, basically the deep learning techniques of, machine language. And what it does is it will analyze massive data sets. How those data sets will be given to it? We as users will provide those data sets. So the generative AI will analyze massive data sets, training data basically. Okay, we train this is models, right? So massive sets of data will be analyzed and the pattern will be detected. It also uses NLP. It also uses NLP to detect human language. So it uses machine learning, it uses NLP. Okay, and by interpreting these patterns of data, and then whatever input we give, so it has been trained on massive data, right? So whatever input we will give, it will then basically produce new content. Always remember, guys, this is very, very important. Generative AI will produce new content. Okay, new content. That content can be images, that content can be music, that content can be videos, that content can be text, okay, or any other creative formats. But generative AI is going to generate completely new content based on the inputs we give. Now, how it understands that inputs? It has analyzed massive sets of data where it has used the algorithms from machine learning, and as well as to process the human language, it uses NLP. So we can say that it is again a branch of AI, but it uses ML, specifically the deep learning techniques, and NLP. So this is our Gen AI. Okay, here everyone. And then we have language models. Now these language models are a type of Gen AI, guys. Okay, they are a type of generative AI. So these language models are, they consist of neural networks which have been trained on large quantities of data. Okay, they have been trained on large quantities of data to understand the text. So these language models will process the natural language inputs, and then what they do, they will predict the next word, whatever they have seen. For example, guys, the sun rises in the, I'm just saying an example. The language model has read this text, the sun rises in the, and it will be able to predict the next word based on the text, whatever it has already read. Understood? Similarly, if you give inputs, that input, okay, that input is known as, guys, normally the inputs which we give to the generative AI is known as prompt. So as I told you yesterday, right, we are going to focus on prompt engineering. So those inputs are known as prompts. Clear, everyone? So using the prompts, you will be able to provide inputs to the generative AI system, and then the language models can generate the output. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
So these are the different terminologies and the concepts. So language models will come under the Gen AI. So if you remember this figure, guys, you will be able to, differentiate between them. You will remember things as well. So please try to capture this picture in your mind, that we have AI as a complete umbrella. Then we have machine learning, we have natural language processing, and we have generative AI as three different branches. And inside machine learning, we have deep learning. NLP uses some algorithms of machine learning. The Gen AI also uses some algorithms of machine learning, as well as it uses the NLP to understand human language, and based on that it will basically generate the output. I think people are still joining in, or no? Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide. So we are going to basically focus on the language models, everyone. Okay, we are basically going to focus on the different types of language models. Okay, as I told you, language models are trained on large sets of data. Okay, they are trained on large sets of data. Based on the training, or based on the data set, whatever have been trained, their output will generate, guys. Their output will generate based on that. And what they will be able to do, they will be able to produce human language. That is very, very important, guys. The way we write, the way we speak. Nowadays, you all must have seen the news anchors, right? They have news anchors generated using AI, and they are able to speak like humans. They are producing human language. Similarly, different AI tools which we are normally using nowadays, they are able to generate text. So how they are able to do that? All the data has been trained. I'll come to more insights into that, guys. Now, by using, natural language processing techniques, these language models, they can predict the text sequence. Okay, they can predict the text sequence, and thus they can play a very important role in different applications. Like, very important, very live example is chatbots. Every system nowadays have chatbots, right? Chat assistants. For example, customer care, right? Many organizations nowadays, they want us to chat with an automated system. They do not want us directly to communicate or converse with their customer care executives. Rather, they want us to discuss or chat with the chatbots, right? So how they are able to understand us? They have been fed with data. They have been trained with data. And then based on that, they are able to understand our language, and they are able to generate text. So content generation is another application, guys, nowadays, right? So based on this, we have two different types of language models. We have two different types of language models, everyone. One is large language model. The another one is small language model. Okay, we have large language model and we have small language model. Now, what is the difference between the large language model and the small language model? The large language model, they are trained on larger data sets. Okay, they are trained on larger data sets and they use deep learning. They use DL. DL means deep learning, guys. Okay, and transformer architecture. Now I am introducing one new term, transformer architecture. We are going to see the architecture, guys. Okay, so the architecture, the because why generative AI has become very capable and it is able to generate within few seconds. So the revolution has been brought by transform architecture. We'll see that. But small language model, they are trained on less data, guys. The small language models are trained on less data and they have simpler architecture. Your large language model, they need high resource requirements. What is resource, guys? Like for example, the hardware on which you want to run. You cannot run a large language model on your laptop. Okay, you cannot run your large language model on your laptop, everyone. However, the small language model, they require less resources. They require less resources. So you can run the small language models on your laptop, on your personal desktops. Understood? So as I told you, they need higher resource requirements. You cannot host them, on servers with less infrastructure. You cannot host them on your personal devices. So normally the cloud is preferred for hosting the large language models. You need to understand these technicalities, guys. Guys, please be on mute. Let's not disturb the flow of the session. A sincere request, everyone, please be on mute. Okay, so because they need high resource for their operation and cloud promises that, right? Because cloud can auto scale. Vertical scaling can be possible. Horizontal scaling can be possible using the cloud infrastructure. So LLMs or the large language models are primarily hosted on the cloud, everyone. But coming to small language models, they can be hosted on local devices. For example, our laptop, our desktop, okay? Or the server infrastructure with moderate, hardware. You can deploy the small language models. The computation of large language models is very intensive, highly intensive, guys. The computation is very fast. They can compute complex problem statements. But the small language models, they have less computing complexity. So they cannot compute complex problems, okay, like LLMs. All of you clear? They cannot process or they cannot compute complex problems like LLMs. Clear, everyone? Some examples, guys. GPT-4, okay, GPT-4 by OpenAI is an example of LLM. Gemini, right? Gemini by Google, that is also an example of large language model. However, some examples of small language models are Gamma models by Google, Phi 2 by Microsoft. Now, if I ask you a question, I have a very, small problem statement, or I want to have a mobile application developed on AI, or I want to develop an application inside a mobile application using AI. and I do not want to train it with large amount of data. I want to host it locally. So what category it will belong to, guys? Anyone?
Small language model.
Small language model. Very good. So if you get questions like those language models which need higher resource requirements, which are normally deployed on the cloud, which have high intensive computation capacity, then they are LLMs. And the opposite is small language model, guys, SLMs. Okay. So then we are hearing this term, right? GPT-4, GPT-3, GPT. What is GPT? GPT models we are hearing, right? That this particular tool is using this particular model of GPT. Now, what is GPT? GPT is generative pre-trained transfer models. Please remember this, guys. Okay. GPT is generative pre-trained transfer models. So OpenAI, this is very, very important, guys. OpenAI developed the first significant GPT model, that is the Chat GPT. Okay, so this is a very popular tool nowadays, right? Chat GPT, it almost took the industry by storm when this tool was introduced. Now, some very, very important points. These GPTs, right? Generative pre-trained transformer models. So this transformer is based on this transformer architecture, everyone. Okay, we'll go to the architecture. So these GPTs, okay, these GPT models, they are trained on specific data sets. They are trained on specific data sets. Remember, when they are interacting with us, for example, Chat GPT is interacting with you at this point of time, or you are interacting with Chat GPT at this point of time, it is not going to learn from your interaction. Okay, during that interaction it is not going to learn, or it is not going to evolve from your user interaction or during that user interaction. Very, very important, guys. Whatever training data they have been initially trained with, okay, whatever training data they have been initially trained with, their responses will be completely based on that only. Please remember this very important point, guys. People nowadays, whoever is not aware of AI, they will say that, okay, I got this question, I'll put this in any GPT model or tool, I'll get the response. But please understand, if that is a very recent topic, and particularly if that model which you are using that has not been trained with respect to that particular information, it will completely give you wrong information. Here, everyone, the responses are completely based on the initial training data. Okay, initial training data. Clear, everyone? Now here I'll introduce one term known as knowledge cutoff. Okay, knowledge cutoff. What is this?
Hi, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Chat GPT, we considered it is overall as a generative AI tool.
Yes, ChatGPT is an AI tool which is based on the GPT model.
Okay, so if we consider your previous diagram where you show us complete umbrella of AI, so this generative AI would be using the large language model, which would be
Yes.
interacting with NLP and deep learning, and from there. So when we enter some text there, so what exactly it might have done based on your previous diagram, if you can just show
We will come.
me.
I'll come to that when I'll go to the architecture. Okay,
Mhm.
I'll explain you. how a particular text is interpreted by the
Okay.
LLM, and then it will generate the output.
Okay.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from. For example, like I input any text, how is it going to interpret that and generate the output? We'll discuss that. Okay, it is there in my top course. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So I'm giving you the basics now. You have to be clear of these fundamental things. People nowadays, as I told you, they need some information. They put in AI. They think that okay, it is the correct information. No. So this term, whatever I was telling you now, knowledge cutoff. Okay, knowledge cutoff. Now, what does this mean, guys? These LLMs or these GPT models, okay, the generative pre-trained transformer model, they will operate under a knowledge cutoff. What does that mean? They might not be aware of the different events, okay, which has occurred after the training period. Understood, everyone? We have trained the GPT models with some data, and after that, if some event has occurred, so the GPT model will not be aware of that because it is operating under that knowledge cutoff. Means the knowledge of that GPT model has been cut off, guys, till its training period. Okay. So based on the training, whatever or training data, whatever has been fed or to the GPT model, its responses will be based on that. So you might not get the correct information, updated information, accurate information from the GPT models. So every AI tool will have a disclaimer, guys. The information generated by GPT, any particular GPT you take, might not be correct. Please validate it from your site. So you need to use these models very, very responsibly, guys. You need keeping these points in mind that they have been trained on large amounts of data. Their responses are based on that training data. So they might not be aware of the recent events because they are operating under a particular knowledge cutoff. Means the point in time till which they have been trained. So their responses will be based on that. Understood, everyone? Very, very important, guys. Any queries?
So, one question like, as we know, we heard or know about like Chat GPT 3.5 or 3, and so there it is coming with the pre trained data. But when we talk about like 4.0 Chat GPT, there we heard or learned like this also connected with the internet, like it gives you the real time data as well.
So they scan the internet. They scan the internet. I agree with you, but again, the output which is generated, you might not get the latest output. When they claim yes, they are scanning the internet, they are and from there they are deducing the information or providing the information. Still, it is your responsibility to verify that information. You cannot blindly take the output provided by the any GPT model. Understood? You have to be aware of this.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, Chat GPT is definitely taking long strides if we compare it to other models. Okay. Who can fact checker, guys? Who can tell me our there is an Indian startup, right? Ola. They have come up with an AI app. Do you know the name? Anyone? Or GPT model from them? We should know, right, guys? It is known as Kritim. Okay, it is still in the beta stage, I believe. But they have, launched this as well. So this is the AI tool from Ola. Okay, guys. But it is, in very initial stage, because I have tried it. The responses are very ambiguous. Okay, but just for your information, I have just shared this, Okay, so then how does this AI understand us, right? How does this AI understand us? Whatever input we give, okay, whatever input we give to these models, how are they able to, generate the output? How are they able to respond to us? How, they, whatever data we provide, the text data, okay, whatever text data we provide, they are broken into tiny building blocks. Okay, they are broken into tiny building blocks. These blocks are known as token, guys. Okay, whatever text data you provide to the AI tools, they will break them into tiny building blocks. So what I can say is token is this smallest distinct unit. Smallest distinct unit. It is single smallest distinct unit because they are the building blocks. Now this token can be a whole word. Okay, it can be a whole word depending on your data, whatever you are providing or the input you are providing. It can be part of a word. It can be part of a word, or it also can be a punctuation, guys. So for the GPT model, it is the smallest unit which makes sense. Okay, clear everyone? So they are broken down into tokens. Remember this. The AI models, okay, the AI models will interpret these tokens, they will process this token, and then they will generate the response. They will generate the response. Someone was asking, right? We are providing some input, how they are providing the output, how they are providing the response. So your input is broken down into tokens, and then how they are processed, we will see that in the architecture. Now this process, guys, this process of breaking down the text data, okay, into certain blocks, right, into the tiny blocks. Now how they will break down into tiny blocks? Based on the predefined rules. There will be the predefined rules. Based on those predefined rules, your input text data will be broken down into tiny blocks, and this process is known as tokenization. Okay, this process is known as tokenization. Now it is the process of decoding, right, our human language. Whatever input we are providing, it is the process of decoding the human language. So it relies heavily on the natural language processing algorithms. Why this tokenization is happening, guys? Because the primary objective is that the AI models should be able to understand whatever we are giving them as inputs. And then when they are also generating, they should generate in the human form. Okay, so there are different steps, guys. There are different steps involved in this, tokenization process. And this tokenization is basically a background process for the LLMs. It is a background process for the LLMs. Clear, all of you? Till now, any queries? Now, as a user, we are not aware of this tokenization, right? Whatever is happening in the background. The developers are basically, responsible to design the, LLMs, and they will be responsible for the development. They will be responsible for the training phases. We as user, when we are giving inputs, Our input is tokenized in the background. But we need to understand how this tokenization is happening, guys. We need to understand this tokenization. So I'll give you an example. Okay, I'll give you an example for this. I should open the link. Let me. Okay, so you see here, guys. You can see how the OpenAI platform, the tokenizer of the OpenAI platform works. Okay, so I'll enter any text. Okay, I'll enter any text. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling today, guys? Now, all of you see here, this is the text which I provided, right? This is the text which I provided. And clearly we can see that here, this text, whatever we entered, that has been tokenized and 6 tokens have been created. Total 26 characters. Total 26 characters broken down into 6 tokens. And you see the color coding here, guys. Okay, color coding. How are you feeling today? And the question mark is also a token. The question mark is also a token. Clear? Are all of you clear, guys? How this tokenization I showed you now in the backend, how this tokenization is happening, right? Whatever text we are entering. Now, when it comes to tokenization, we need to understand or we need to keep the token features in mind. Okay, we need to keep the token features in mind. Maximum input length. Maximum input length. Please understand that the LLMs can process a certain number of tokens only in a single request. You cannot keep on bombarding tokens to them. So they can process a certain number of tokens in a single request. And this limit is very, very crucial, right? And it includes both your prompt as well as response. So whichever LLM you are using, please read the documentation, because if you are exceeding this input length, I'm sorry, if you are exceeding this maximum input length, your responses will not be complete. Your responses will not make sense. Okay. And then cost optimization. Cost optimization. The LLMs charge us on the basis of the tokens which are being used. So whatever inputs, now you see, guys, the text which I entered, right? The text which I entered, if I increase the text length, right? If I increase the text length, will the number of tokens increase or decrease, guys? If I increase the text length, will the number of tokens increase or decrease? It will increase, right? And I told you that the LLMs will charge us on the basis of tokens. So we need to keep in mind that the prompts or the inputs which we are providing, they should be concise and effective. So we will be able to use less number of tokens for the same thing. Okay, so when we have effective prompts, concise prompts, it helps us, to communicate properly with the LLMs. And in the meantime, we can get the necessary response from it. All of you clear? Okay.
I have a
So
question. Sorry.
yes, tell me.
So these tokens length would be defined by the developers, right? So
It will
consider
depend on model to model. Yeah.
okay. So consider like we are using ChatGPT. We are not aware of like uh, what should be a length maximum length of our input, right?
Yeah.
So what it will do? So let's say example we can enter only 10 words, right? But we are entering more than 10 words. So what it will do in that case?
It will process it. It will give you the response, but that response would not be making sense. That response would not be complete. Understood?
Okay, but however, we would be not aware of
Because, for
like
example, you have given, you know, this particular length of text, okay, just a pictorial representation, but it has, let's say, a maximum input length of this in a single request. So it will process this much of information only, and the response will be based on this much of information. This amount will not be read. This amount will not be, you know, utilized by the LLM. Understood? So whatever complete information you provided, if you are not, if that is not being completely analyzed, then your response will also not be complete. Are you understanding?
yes. So like while we are using any LMs, is it defined anywhere like this
Yeah.
LM is
So,
supporting?
yes. So you can go and read the documentation. That is why I think you missed that point.
Okay,
You need to go
okay.
and read the documentation, and you will get to know what is the maximum input length. Okay, for any specific LLM which you are using. Okay. And similarly, guys, whoever has not subscribed for Chat GPT, for example, so you will not be able to converse for infinite time. I hope you, if everyone has used it, okay, you will not be able to converse. You cannot keep on conversing. You cannot keep on having the conversation. It will tell you that for today you have reached your limits. So you have consumed the number of tokens. Clear, all of you? Any other queries, anyone? Any other queries? Okay. So I think we'll stop the session here today. I hope you all have, enjoyed the uh, day one of our training. I see a hand raised, Divya. I assume
Yes, yes, yes.
the hand of DG is not lowered since the beginning. Okay, so Divya,
Yes.
please.
I have a question regarding for the training purpose, what kind of the tool are we going to work on?
We are going to use different open source AI tools. So for
Mm-hmm.
different phases, there are different tools. So in my next session, I'll also tell you about the different tools, which can be used for different activities for in a different, in the different activities of the different test phases. So based on that, we'll be using the open source tools. Okay, and then Chandan.
Yeah, just need to know the theoretical parts you are covering per session. Can we get the notes on that, or can you share the PPT per
Yeah,
session
the
so
deck.
that we can know?
Yes, as I told yesterday, each and every session is being recorded. So the recorded sessions will be shared, as well as whatever documents, whatever demonstrations I'm going to do, the prompts, whatever I'm going to write, everything will be shared, with the participants.
And one more thing, Venkat. So, is it possible that we can get the recordings before 12 because it is too late and we are in office, so not able to go through the sessions. So, if possible,
So,
if we get
apologies
if
for that, but the team comes in to the office at, as you all are working, so the team is also working, so they come to the office at around 10, 11, at around
okay.
10. So, and then the recording is processed, so you upload it to YouTube, right? So those are things, there are technicalities behind that. So we ensure, to share it by 11 or 12. Okay.
Okay.
I think then it is Gulam Sadiq.
Yeah, Venkat. So in most of the company, there is restriction for the using this chat GPT and AI tools.
Yes.
So
No,
what will the
it is not.
alternative?
It is not the rest. There is means. Okay, I'll like to correct you there. Every organization, most of them, not I'll not say every, because most of the organizations, they have not yet adapted, but in the future they will adapt. All of you would have
Hmm.
heard a term during the COVID pandemic, digital transformation. Did you hear that? Anyone? Digital transformation. Every other organization, was involved in this term, came in during the pandemic, and it was called as digital transformation. So everyone followed that. Similarly, nowadays you will see most of the organizations, big organizations, everyone is hiring or procuring basically the GPT models. So
Mhm.
they are going to have their own. Okay. So you will get a chance to use that. And yes, there is no restriction on using the open source AI tools as long as you do not breach the confidentiality and the security. Okay. So you have to be
Right.
careful in that. Okay. So we'll go to the next one. Sumaya.
Sorry, hi, this is Saif. Actually, I logged in from my other account.
Yeah.
So I think the question I was asking, Gulam asked it. So in my organization, we have not purchased the subscription. Can we still go ahead and start using it? And like, if there is a restriction imposed by my bosses, right? What is the answer for that? Like, how do I convince them? uh, is there a solution to use this open AI model? Because like, since this is in the market for a while now, uh, like at least I have tried my hands on this. And that was my second question. Like, if I have basically tried my hands on implementing an open AI, using an open AI API token, and I'm into performance engineering and testing, and using the input data which I provide, the AI is giving me the response, but it is a dummy data. How do I convince my organization that uh, we should go ahead implementing it? Because every time we try, they say, uh, don't ever try to do this. It's security breach and all those steps. And my second question was, will since I have already started learning, what additional I can learn from this training? Specifically, I'm looking for like script migration, right? If I have to do migrate a script from one tool to another, like load runner, can this training help me to generate load runner scripts using AI?
Okay. Coming to your first question, you need to educate your manager. Okay. You need to educate, you need to schedule a session with them, show them you are not, you are not breaching the confidentiality of your organization, and you are basically generating better output in a shorter time format, right? Means within a short span of time, you are basically generating better output and all. Demonstrate that and tell that other organizations are already using it and leveraging it. If we do not use it today, we'll be bound to use it tomorrow. You go and see the hirings. Everyone is looking for AI professionals. Okay. Then the next one is coming to migration. So AI can do so many things, guys. As part of this training, I'm not going to cover the migration part. I'll be very specific on that. But yes, Gen AI can generate load runner scripts. Gen AI can generate Jmeter scripts. Gen AI can also convert load runner script to Jmeter script. Okay. Okay. Next, I think we have three more
Just
people.
just one point. One point is like, when we are using our requirement documents, right, like HLD documents, requirement to generate test plans and all, we are already breaching, right? We are all so
No, who said that? Who asked you to upload the exact document which you got from the customer?
so what is the solution? Like, without that, we cannot
That
generate
is,
the output.
so for example, you use you create test data for your tests.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, test
You are not
data.
supposed to, one moment. Let me answer. No, one moment. You are supposed to use test data, right? And alongside that, you are not supposed to use production data. But whatever environments are created, it is already loaded with some data, right? How is that happening? The data is masked. Similarly, here also you need to follow an approach. Okay. So you have to be responsible user. You have to see how you can leverage AI without breaching the confidentiality. Okay, next question we'll take from Vishal.
Yes, I have couple of questions. So first question is, with this training, are we going to only use the existing tools, AI tools, which are available in the market, and how we can like optimize our bandwidth with the help of that tool, or we are also going to learn something with the like how we can integrate LLMs using the Python language and all these things.
Okay. So yeah, I have already answered this question yesterday. So as part of this training, we are only going to see like how to use the AI tools as a end user.
Okay.
Okay.
And my second question is, I understand how you tell about like when we enter the text, how LM process this as a part of a token. Now, how what is how it works with like natural language and this machine learning and deep learning, this LM with all other components.
Yeah, so as I told you, it uses the algorithms of machine language to analyze the massive sets of data, and to process human language, it uses the natural language processing algorithms. Okay, and we'll not go more into the technicalities of that, because our objective is something different here. Our objective is to leverage generative AI in software testing. Okay. Yeah. So coming to the next question, Brahmanand.
Okay, yeah, I had one question that are we, as a part of the training, are we going to look into only the open source AI tools that are available, or are we also going to look into the paid ones?
No, the open source AI tools will be in scope.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have covered everyone and their queries. We'll stop the session for today. Thank you all for joining the session. Hope you all enjoyed it. Have a good one. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.